Hey guys. So this is part 2 of my 8th grade autobiography year. My first video was 11 and a half minutes long, so I decided to cut it at January 2011. So here we go. January 2011. Wow. Time goes by fast. I spent my New Year's Eve sick and watching SNL for the first time. Well, technically SNL through the years. Yeah, I caught the stomach bug. Laura and my old friend Kennedy prank called me. Then things began to change. I had imagined my life would slightly change in 2011. Just things such as growing more mature, new friends, etc. I didn't really know. I began to not get along with Laura as much, and we fought a lot. I cannot imagine how much it hurts to think back. I mean, I've always longed for a best friend. Not that I haven't had friends through the years, and what I claimed then to be best friends. But this year, I thought I finally found her. Kelly is my best friend, and I love her to death. But sometimes it's just not the same. A part of me was missing. I admit I did like a guy a little too much. I admit it, but it obviously doesn't matter. See, I didn't notice that until now. Anyways, we fought and we a few days here and there went without talking. On the night of January 28th, Kelly posted on Yahoo, "Life sucks sometimes." I shouldn't have done this, but we do learn from our mistakes in our lives. I commented on Yahoo and sent this via text. Yeah, it does. Haven't talked to my best friends in a week. Kelly got mad, and then Laura got mad. Then Laura said after a small argument, "Never thought it'd come to this, but enjoy the rest of your life, Mara." I sat up all that night crying. Brandon was at least there to help me get through that night. He questioned her the next day, but it didn't really matter. Now you're probably thinking, why would she be so mean and not listen to her friends? I can answer that by saying, because I was blind. I did not see the people who cared, or what I thought to be caring. After this, we didn't talk. February 2011. Well, not much had changed. I was going through a period where life was hard. It was probably just me being hard on myself. I still had not talked to Laura. On the outside, I seemed not to care. However, on the inside, I really did. Valentine's Day comes around. Whoop-de-doo! The way I saw it then was just another reminder that I was a sad little lonely person. Laura wrote me a letter saying she was sorry and asked if we could be neutral. At first I didn't want to, but then I agreed. I was so happy to have her back. After a while the happiness faded a little, and we went back to arguing over what really was stupid things. I saw them as offensive, when they weren't. Anyways, we went back to not talking a lot, and that's all I remember from February. Oh, also, Liz straightened my hair for the first time before the dance, and then I went to her 17-hour dance-a-thon. Man, that was tiring. March 2011. I can quite honestly say that I don't remember much from March. There were the tryouts for rec softball. I already knew what team I was on because my dad was the manager. When your parent or the guardian is a manager of a team, you're automatically on their team. I was on Thunder. Callie and I got to help our coach Sean with catching balls for the little girls. It was quite fun. I saw all my peeps. Yes, peeps. From softball, and it felt great to be reunited. I received an invitation to Erin's birthday party for the 26th. Laura was going. Oh, great. Even more awkwardness. Anyways, I sucked it up and had a great time. I spent the beginning of the day at my pal Josh's house. I feel bad for the kid because he gets teased and I am like his best friend. Well, he tells me I am. Then my dad picked me up and off to Erin's house we went. I was the first to arrive. I was so nervous about Laura coming. I just hoped we wouldn't get into a fight. When Laura arrives, we don't talk much. But soon are. As soon as everyone's arrived, we eat pizza and salad and go for a walk. We walked by Rob's house and prank called it. So funny. When we got back to Erin's, Laura couldn't find her phone. Even though we were not the best of friends at the moment, I still decided to help her. After the two of us searched, yes, the two of us, we went to Erin's room and she cried. I let her cry on my shoulder and comforted her while Erin's parents drove around and looked. I thought we were fine after that. I mean, her phone was found and I thought we'd be best friends again. Turns out I was wrong. April 2011. April came around so fast. It seems like April Fool's Day was yesterday. 2 more months of school and goodbye to Friedman. I don't want to leave Friedman. I love it here. Let's see, where to start? Well, I can start off with the dance and softball tryouts for Friedman. I worked with Kelly a few times because she really wanted to make this team. Since I was a returning player, I automatically had a spot on the team. Liz and I listened every day to see when they would announce when the tryouts were. They ended up being the week before April vacation. The boys had already had tryouts and practice before they announced when ours was. Anyways, the callbacks for first cut were on the day of the last dance. Well, if you aren't counting semi, then it is. I went over Liz's house afterwards and we got ready for the dance. Finally, the time arrived and we headed out. We made sure we had our tickets and snack money. Sierra was getting a ride home with me, so I had to make sure I brought all my stuff with me. The dance was so fun. I got to slow dance again, but it turns out it was only because the person felt bad. Oh well, I'm over it. After the dance and dropping off Sierra, I returned home and started packing for a vacation. This was going to be the first April vacation where I actually went on vacation. The plan was to leave Friday night after my mom came home and drive all night to Williamsburg, Virginia. I'd only gone to Williamsburg once, when I was 3. I remember it was the end of the day, walking through the streets with my little Bubbles Powerpuff Girls doll. Friday came and went, and I found out that Kelly made the softball team. That was awesome. My mother dear came home after 9 p.m., and we finished packing and making sure that we had everything that we needed. After arguments and frustration with my dad, the Bovarusian family headed out at like 11 p.m. We stopped at Wendy's to get some food, and then we left approximately 11:30 p.m. I fell asleep now and then listening to my iPod. When we reached the George Washington Bridge in New York, there was a lot of traffic. Even at 2 o'clock in the morning. I repeat, 2 o'clock in the morning. Guess the saying, "The city never sleeps," is true. The driver of the car in front of us fell asleep. Another man noticed and went to wake him up. Still driving, my dad said he fell asleep. I had been asleep, and then the little rivets on the side of the road woke me up. Sometimes my dad will drive over them for fun, so naturally I thought that was what happened. That was not the cause, and my father said that we almost crashed into the guardrail because he fell asleep and needed to take a break and get a coffee pronto. I believe we were just getting into Baltimore, Maryland. That's where Sierra used to live, and I texted her saying that. She got all excited as well. So enough about driving. At around 10 a.m., we pulled into our hotel in Williamsburg. Almost 12 hours of driving for my dad. After somewhat checking in, we went to go check out the area. Right down the street from our hotel was the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. I wanted to go so bad, but we didn't have enough time. Along with Ripley's, there were a few trading stores and places to eat. Since we had enough time, we traveled out to Jamestown. That was amazing, except for the wind and light rain every now and then. Excavations were still going on, and in previous years, bodies had been found. I found that pretty cool. After walking through the Triangle, church, and taking many pictures, we went to one of the museums they had. This one had artifacts, including a helmet, chest shield, muskets, swords, shells, jewelry, money, and finally a skeleton, with the musket still in its knee. Then my brother Thomas and I raced on the long bridge that took us back to where we entered the historic Jamestown. We visited the small museum, which showed an old old map, and had a place on it called Murata. Anyways, we passed a legit bamboo forest and went to our hotel. On April 16th, there was a tornado warning for where we were and the other communities around us. Fortunately, we did not get hit, but the town next to us did. That was really scary. The next day, we spent the whole day at Colonial Williamsburg. The only major building we did not go into was the governor's palace. That, just looking, was amazing. It was just so beautiful. I absolutely adore colonial style things. That's one reason why I love it there so much. The tour guide we had for the Capitol, at least I think that's what it's called, was so good. She was just amazing. I also learned that that was where the House of Burgesses met. After that, we went directly to the jail. That was so small to have so many people. I learned a lot of stuff at Williamsburg and enjoyed it oh so much. Our next stop was Washington, D.C. Once we got to the hotel, we checked in. We had difficulties because the main program had us all set. While that one particular hotel did not, Gilbert, the man who had helped us, was so patient and kind. I felt so bad for him because there wasn't much he could do. Since the computer didn't have us saved for one room, we had to stay in two separate rooms. The next morning, we went to IHOP, which was connected to our hotel. And Thomas did not have too much luck. He ordered a cheeseburger, and when it came back, the bun was rock hard. No lie. My dad, my really strong dad, could not break a crumb off of it. So we ordered another one, and they only changed the top part. So we told the waitress again, and she apologized and asked if he wanted anything. Of course, he just orders more fries. I believe that day we went to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, where we saw rockets, airplanes, Amelia Earhart's plane, chest, and medals. It was awesome and way crowded. There isn't much to say. I mean, there was a lot of air and space things. They were just amazing. On display, they had Buzz Aldrin's spacesuit with dirt and sand from the moon. Also, there was a moon rock which you could touch and feel. After we finally finished going through the huge place, we walked what seemed like 10 miles. It really wasn't. To the Holocaust Museum. Unfortunately, we got there when they had ran out of passes for the main exhibit. However, we did see Daniel's story. That was really sad. Photographs and tiles that were made for the unfortunate ones who died in that terrible time. One tile was made by a girl named Mara. I found that was pretty cool. Afterwards, we walked back to the subway station, rode the subway, got to our car, and then drove to a hotel to pee. You would not believe how tired we were from walking all that day. After we were all set, my mom called around to hotels in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, to see if there are any vacant rooms. There was, and there was a pool there. Thank God. See, the reason why I say this is because it was 92 degrees when we left DC. So we get to Gettysburg and we are so hungry. We went out to eat at a local restaurant. I apologize, but I forget the name. It was baseball themed and was called, hold on, I think I remember. I believe it was Gettysburg Sam's. That was delicious. While we waited for our food, my mother and I decided to go look for information about a local ghost tour. My family is into stuff like that. I mean, we are not weirdos. We're all, I don't know, weird. There was a ghost tour that night. My mom really wanted to go, but she was too tired and wanted to go sit in the hot tub instead. We could always go to a local one at home. Thomas and I went swimming while our parents went in the hot tub. Eventually, Thomas and I joined us. Thomas didn't stay for long. It felt so good to be in there. Okay, so I'm gonna end this because this is like 15 minutes long. I'm gonna post a third one. Thanks for listening.